again. Welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. Thought I'd do one more little video on where I started off with last week about subjects that I spot in Facebook groups. This time I want to talk about sending to buses, sending to effects tracks, etc. Now, before everyone jumps on me and starts shouting folders at me, yes, I use folders, but this is a good technique to know because you will have to send certain tracks for send effects, etc. And I'm going to show you a couple of little quick tricks that helps you send multiple tracks to a destination with one click. So, you know, stay tuned, just trying to help. So what we've got is a little some drum tracks here. So let's give them a quick listen so you can hear what it is we're talking about. Not that it really matters, but you know. So we've just got a fairly standard drum kit that I recorded. Now, very, very quickly, I'm going to show you a method. If you just want to send all of those drums to a drum bus, there's a couple of things you want to achieve if you do that. For one thing, if you notice, if I bring up the actual tracks here, the editor window, you can see here they're all being sent to the master track. Now, if I then send them into a bus track, I don't want them to be going to the master track anymore. I want them purely to go to that bus track. Okay? Now, a way to do that is to press Alt and click here on the master, and that will switch it off, as you've seen there. So what I want to do is I want to switch that back on, but I want to achieve that result with all of these tracks. So there is a keystroke. If I select all of these tracks, I select the first one, hit Shift and select the last one. If I press Shift and Control, that will send all of these tracks at the same time into whatever track I want to send them into. But if I also hit Alt, what will happen is if I click on the I/O of my first track here, I don't know if you can see this, see my mouse moving around, the kick in track here, I'm going to left click on the I/O and drag it up into the drums bus, which is what I want it to be, and let go. Now what's happened is, as you can see, all of these tracks, the master has been switched off. We have a send on here, so they've now all been sent in one keystroke into my drum bus. Okay, so let's undo that. I'll do that one more time for you just to show. So if we click the first track, select the last one, I'm going to hold down Shift, Control and Alt. On a Mac it will be Shift, Command, Alt. Drag from one of the, it doesn't matter what track within the highlighted tracks, drag from one of them onto the bus track you want to use, let go, and it will automatically disconnect all of these tracks from the master and route them via this bus track. Okay? Oops. Very simply. Now, one thing when I talked about the side chaining video I did last week, one thing I didn't show you, and have I still got it on my toolbar? I think I got rid of it. Let's view the routing matrix. This I kind of deliberately didn't show you because if you're a newcomer to Reaper, this can be quite confusing. But in the routing matrix, you can route all your ins and outs and all the rest of it. I'm just going to show you this very quickly so you know that it's there. Okay? Usually in your main toolbar here, I've changed it. There's usually a button you can hit to open up the routing matrix. But if you want to see it, go into View, scroll down here to Routing Matrix and open it up. Okay? Right. So that's sending to a bus track and getting rid of all your master tracks and whatnot. Another thing that I see people asking is how do they route to effects tracks? Okay, so down here I've got a tom verb. Oops, I hit the folder. I don't want to do that. So I've got a tom verb, which is a little verb trick that I use on toms, and I've also got a drum verb, which I would send my kick and snares into. So just to show you very quickly, if we find our toms, they're up here, toms 1 and 2. So again, select both of them. Now in this case, you know, even if I hadn't sent them into the drum bus, I maybe wouldn't want to cut off the master send. So all I have to do is hit Shift and Control, and what that means is it will send both tracks at the same time. Again, left click on the I/O, drag it down to my tom verb, drop it on my tom verb, and as you can see, that tom verb is now receiving from tom 1 and 2. Similarly, we can do it with, I want to do this with my kick and snare, for example. So I want to choose all of my kicks and snares. So there's 4 of them, the snare bottom, snare top, kick in and kick out. Same thing, Shift and Control, drag it down and drop it onto my drum verb. And there we are. They're all on there. All those 4 tracks are now going into my drum verb. Okay, so really straightforward, guys. I hope that helps. You know, I know people will shout at me folders, but there is certain places where bus tracks, etc., are preferable over folders. Folders I find a bit of a pain in the arse when it comes to ordering, etc. But also, even within folders, you want to send to other tracks. You want to send to effects, etc. So there's your 2 methods. Plus, if you want to look at the routing matrix and figure that out, that's up to you. But I'm kind of not focusing on that because that can get quite complicated and it's sore on the eyes, you know what I mean? Especially for new people that first started. I remember for me, it was really confusing. This was an easier method that I used. Hope it's helpful. Hope it's useful. See you in the next one. Cheers, guys. Please remember, like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.